Hey guys, welcome back. I want to come at you with some updates on the heading into Language Land 2 language learning card game. If you're unfamiliar with this is a card game designed by a language learner specifically for language learners. It's one of the few games in the world that does that, and it does that at a super high level. This game is not going to spoon feed you. It is a heavy-duty educational resource. Our goal is to make your language learning process truly unforgettable. And to do that, we have this game which it has a printable version. It has an online version which we use in our weekly gaming groups. You can come out for free, take it for a test drive, play it with us. It has professionally printed decks. It has foil cards. There is the potential to do card commissions. We can design your own card. And there are pre-built study guides for several languages like Spanish, Mandarin, and Japanese. And not only that, but there's a story behind the game with characters who battle each other and learn different languages. It's like a fantasy-themed story, so I can incorporate my language learning philosophies into the game. So it's really a whole world that you can immerse yourself in. Now, I hear what some of you are saying right away. You're saying, gaming, I don't think gaming's really that useful for language learning. I'd rather just have an hour of devoted study to my textbook or my class or whatever. Remember, this is meant as an enrichment tool. It's an enrichment resource. I don't intend for you to use this as your primary way or your only way to learn your foreign language. If you add this in the correct way, it's going to make your journey and your process so much better. And it's going to, again, place the emphasis on the human element of all this. A lot of people are studying their foreign languages alone for years and not really associating with other people and not really making friends. Isn't that what language is for? To communicate with others, to share understanding, to bridge cultural gaps and, make a better world? I think so. So don't forget that part of it. No language learner is an island. Okay, I just made that up. But this game, there's playlists for it on my YouTube channel if you want to learn more about it. You can also go over to languagecardgames.com, see our upcoming schedule of games, sign up there. But to come back, today's video is to give you some updates on the second edition of Heading into Language Land. I've already been working on it for, I guess about a year. And I'm currently in the stage where I'm collecting artwork from different artists. This takes a long time because I have to spend a lot of my time communicating with artists about what I want. I have to chat with them about every single piece of artwork for every single card in the game. So I have to collect probably about 60 pieces of artwork to eventually have the 50 or 54 pieces that I need for the game. I'm communicating with them back and forth by email, sometimes by video call, sometimes I'm shooting videos to show them what I want about every single piece. Sometimes we have an email chain 30 or 40 or 50 emails long for a single piece. It's insane the amount of work that I put in and also that the artists put in into this artwork because we want to make a really special game for you that really pulls you in and immerses you in another world, a language learning world. Now, one of the adaptations that I've had to make recently is to kind of wean myself off of this idea that I had that the theme of the game, the theme of the artwork for the game could take inspiration from the Hudson River School of Art. So I like to think of themes for each game deck that I release and try to focus the vibe and the artwork around that theme. The Hudson River School of Artwork is really cool to me. It's got sort of a romanticized, soft, glowing, sort of faded, yellowy style to it, and it's also pretty highly detailed. And I wanted all the artists to try to lean in that direction, but I found it's almost impossible. It's much easier said than done. It's kind of like taking a bunch of different singers and saying, I want all of you to sing this style. Well, all these different artists, they have developed over time through their hard work, their own style. And it's really hard to just tell them, I want you to do something more similar to this style. So what that means is the games are kind of a collection of different people's styles, and I like that. It's interesting. It it makes the world of the game seem more varied. But I guess the point is I couldn't make it as unified maybe as I was hoping, as unified around the Hudson River School style as I was hoping. So what I'm doing now is I'm backing off of that request when I negotiate and communicate with the artist. And what I'm trying to do is just make this next edition of the game an edition that has more open horizons, more open vistas, more light. We're going to see more nature. I really want this edition to expand the world of Language Land so you see much more and you can see we're really opening upon a different world. The first edition was to introduce you to the world, and now we're really going out to venture into this world. Metamet, the main character, is leaving Word Haven. He's going out to try to form an alliance, and he has to travel across the land and visit another kingdom, a kingdom of tree folk and earth element word wizards. If you're wondering what the hell am I talking about and how does this relate to language learning, this is the underpinning genre or theme of the game, which is really so cool and unites with language learning perfectly because every game card has different topics to speak about, but they all relate to whatever the character is or whatever the place is on the game card. I actually have the first edition here so I can give you an example of what I mean. Like, here's some cards from the first edition, okay? So Tim, again, he's a time wizard. So all his categories are speaking about time. So you would speak about time in your target language. Naomi, she is sort of an emotional sword fighter. She's a little bit insecure, but she's also really capable of fighting well. So there's different topics here like feeling, apparel, makeup, hairstyle. But she's a really great fighter in the story. Here's a troll. So you have to talk about muscles, video games, aggressive acts, computer parts. Computer part, I was thinking of literal like trolls on the web and how they're always using their computer to troll people, stuff like that. Swords, okay, sword parts, sword names, horses, and so on. So what I do is I design the story, I design the characters and the places, and then when I make the game cards, I think of categories that could relate to them. This game has over 100 topics in it, and we have pre-built study guides for several languages like Japanese, Mandarin, and Spanish. And going forward into the second edition, like this is the first edition, heading into Language Land, the death of the emissary. This is Emissary Fire Circle. If you read the story, you learn what happens to these language learning characters. In the story, there's actually sort of an evil wizard who has developed an infectious language that he wants to take over the land with, and he wants to make everybody speak only one language. He wants to eliminate all the other languages. Well, in the second edition, there's going to be another 100 set, maybe more than 100 new topics to speak about. And the main character is going to be trying to form an alliance so that they can win this war which is brewing. Now, apart from that, what other updates can I give you about heading into Language Land 2? Well, the story behind heading into Language Land 2 is pretty much written out. I think I have about 11,000 words for it. Obviously, I have much more polishing to do there, much more refinement to do there. Also, as I get further along with the game design and working on the artwork and all the cards and actually what I write on each game card, that may give me some ideas for things that I need to adjust in the story. So sometimes between the story and the game, different ideas and different aspects are playing off each other. There's this dance. I might adjust some things in the game, and that means I have to go over to the story and adjust some things. I might add something to the story, like a character. Well, that means he has to show up in the game, so I need to design a new card, a new character. So those two things are two creative projects that have to go forward in tandem. But the story is pretty much finished, and all the cards are pretty much templated out and filled out. So really, for now, my main goal is to just collect a lot of artwork. Once all the artwork is collected, then I'll go back to finishing off the story and the cards, the game cards. Currently, I have probably about 7 pieces of artwork done. maybe about 3 or 4 more in the pipeline, and I have a goal to have half of the artwork done by the summer or by the end of the summer. Now I feel like maybe I can't meet that deadline. I had a few pieces of artwork come through that I wasn't satisfied with. I feel like the artist didn't do exactly what I was asking for, and I have a few pieces that I probably can't use. So I'm going to have those redone. I'm going to have to, I feel like I've had to take a few back steps there. So haste makes waste. I want to pace myself, slow down a bit, and work with the best artists, pay them a higher amount, because there's some artists I know who always deliver and they're obsessed with the details. So I think I'm going to slow down and work with them more and not try to work with too many artists at the same time. Because if artists aren't that skilled, it leads to a lot of mistakes and miscommunications, and then they ask me to pay more money to do more revisions. I can't burn through money so easily when they're not really able to deliver on what I'm asking for. So I have to be careful to work with people who really understand and get what I'm trying to do without too much extra explanation. And you will see in future months, and maybe next year, probably more of this next year, you will see some of the artwork we've been working on. You'll probably see some interviews with artists like I did in the past, because it's really fun to understand their craft and how much work they put into this. Bottom line is, I hope that heading into Language Land 2 can continue to make your language learning journey even more unforgettable, just like heading into Language Land 1 did. We've already changed and impacted so many people's lives. The online gaming groups alone have touched and transformed the language learning processes of over 50 people from over a dozen countries around the world. There's probably about 10 or 12 of them who come out super regularly because they really like what we're doing. It keeps them motivated, it keeps them inspired. So one of the reasons why I feel so urgent to get heading into Language Land 2 done, or maybe not done, but keep moving on it, is because I want to provide them with fresh inspiration and all new categories to talk about. Some of our players have already been using the first edition of the game for 1 year now. But the thing is, in my current stage of life, with a full-time job and 2 little children at home, it's hard to do game design. This is a creative act that really requires flow state, and I have so few and so short a duration of time each day for flow state. So it's super, super hard, and it could easily take me 3 or 4 or 5 years to create a game that I'm happy with. So I hope that you guys can bear with me, and I hope that you can extract every drop of value out of heading into Language Land 1. Don't forget, we have a blank study guide in the rulebook for heading into Language Land 1. I wonder if you've used that and if you've filled it all out using your own example sentences. Fill out a blank study guide. Memorize every sentence in the pre-built study guides. Read the story that I wrote, which supports the game. Watch the videos I made that explain some of the interesting topics on these cards. If you do all these things, you will understand why I charge the amount that I do for my game decks and why I'm so passionate and so involved with our online gaming groups, because I know if you invest the time and the money and the effort, you will have an unforgettable and magical language learning journey. I'll see you back here next time. Bye-bye for now.